One of the best and most important things about the work that the IBM Center has done is to provide a chance for people to really think and explore issues that normally wouldn't fit in the usual kind of academic research, and to get it out in a format too that would be of appeal to policymakers. A lot of academic research proceeds down the road, sometimes at great speed, but looking in the rearview mirror, looking at databases defined from the past, problems that other scholars have worked on. And one of the terrific things about the IBM Center is just a chance to think about the things that are forward-leaning, to be able to get into the issues that are emerging, to be able to explore problems that policymakers need to do and explore in a way that doesn't often fit the usual kind of academic research. So it's had, in many ways, a tremendous amount of impact in the policy world, but a chance too to be able to help and transform and rethink the way that academic research ought to operate.
So instead, we transitioned over to another Department of Homeland Security acquisition called Project Deepwater, run out of the Coast Guard, which was an acquisition that was to span 25 to 30 years and basically bring in all new equipment and basically revamp the entire fleet of the Coast Guard in the wake of 9/11 and an attempt to modernize the Coast Guard's fleet. So myself and two of my friends and colleagues, Matt Potowski and David Van Slyke, embarked on a multi-year project with funding from the IBM Center to look at what had worked well in the Deepwater acquisition and what had not worked well. And so we conceived a series of research projects that were ultimately translated into a series of reports like this one that the IBM Center produced that first allowed us as scholars to really understand what Coast Guard had done. It was, again, seed funding to allow us to do all sorts of interesting research. But also because we were working with funding from IBM, perhaps surprisingly to us, we were impressed by how many doors it opened for us.
As a public management researcher, IBM is giving me the opportunity to transfer my knowledge into practice. It's really important for us as academics to gain transparency in the type of research that we are doing, to gain legitimacy and providing lots of transparency and accountability toward the research, and then also transfer our knowledge directly into practice. IBM is closing this gap for us as researchers. We are usually publishing in academic journals, and what IBM does with those reports is that they are providing a step-by-step guide for practitioners, transferring our knowledge into practical applications.
I've been asked over the years to write 2 reports for the series. The first was in 2013, and that report built on my research, and it was titled Implementing Cross-Agency Collaboration, a Guide for Federal Managers. I'm happy to say that that report was one of the most downloaded reports in 2013. I particularly appreciated the opportunity not only to share research, but also to highlight some cases of best practice and some of the lessons learned that were important to public managers. The other thing I appreciate very much about the IBM Reports series, and I think is important, is the editing that they do, the careful editing in order to make the message as concise and clear and practical as possible. In 2016, I wrote another report that was part of a broader collaborative effort, and the basis came out of a couple of roundtables with a large group of current and former government officials and decision makers. This report is titled Building an Enterprise Government, Developing an Ecosystem for Cross-Agency Collaboration in the Next Administration. The report was published in March 2016 and really tries to bring together at all levels of the federal government the kind of scaffolding that's being built in order to support cross-agency collaboration that has become more and more important.
The IBM Center plays a very important role in public management research. In my own case, the funding, editorial support, and distribution networks has helped my research in numerous ways. First, the research fund supported my travel back and forth to DC and other research sites with my colleagues Trevor Brown, Matt Potowski, Nick Armstrong, and Zach Hoytink. We were able to access experts, collect data, and conduct interviews to shape our understanding of the issues we were researching. Public administration research has gained additional legitimacy with those engaged in public service because of the IBM Center. One of the highlights for me when going up for a promotion to full professor was demonstrating that my research was being used by decision makers in the Office of Federal Procurement Policy, in the Office of Management and Budget. The IBM Center had a lot to do with making my scholarship accessible to governance leaders. Finally, the Center has used a range of distribution media and forums to help promote the work of scholars and practitioners, from podcasts to a range of presentation opportunities. Each is valued and welcomed in being able to affect how research can be an important input into strengthening governance.